When we talk about institution, we all agree with me that there's no other better definition than the adapted definition because we have a special case as Nigerians. And by this presentation, when I mean institution, is a large established organization such as university or bank founded for a public or specific purpose. It also refers to a deeply ingrained social custom, law, or traditions. Meaning that when we are talking about institutions, institution can be a physical structure, it can be an organized setting, it can be, rules and regulations, traditions, guiding some set of people who have come together for a particular purpose. Like we call Chartered Institute of Leadership. The institute is an institution on its own, and it has its modus operandi, meaning that we have rules and regulation guiding us, we have programs, we have the hierarchy of authority, which is not domiciled in Nigeria. So that's what we call institution. When we're talking of national development, the comprehensive, holistic process of improving the economy, social, political, and material well-being of a nation's population. That's what we call national development. It also means that it goes beyond merely increasing financial wealth of all the gross domestic product of any nation. It aims to raise citizens' overall standard of living through equitable resources allocation. Meaning that when we're talking of national development, it is not only mentioned by gross domestic product by the, when we talk about exports and imports, and even those things that are produced locally, like we have in Nigeria now. It's beyond that. The citizens of the nation or of the country must be enjoying the opportunity or the resources that God has endowed the institution with, or the nation with, or the community with. Also, if you go by the definition of national development, like I've rightly said, it aims to raise citizens' overall standard. That is why when they want to measure development in any community, they use what? Gross domestic products, or they use standard of living by United Nations standard. Now, okay, what is standard of living in that country? What is the amount of money they use it in dollars that a Nigerian can spend in a day, or that is available to a Nigerian by the provision of the government of the institution. The last one that I need to clarify under conceptual clarification is strengthening. We don't understand English. It's the process of making something stronger, more effective, or more resistant to force, harm, or wear. It applies to physical objects, abstract concepts, and systems. Meaning that what we're strengthening in this situation is an abstract thing, which is our nation, our legal system, our economy, our currency, to improve on individual standards of living. That is exactly what we're looking at today. I move straight to the next thing, which is the characteristics of effective, resilient, and accountable institution. You all agree with me that Nigeria as a nation is well blessed. We have the natural resources, we have the human resources, we have the capital, we have everything that we deserve to be one of the best nations in the world. We are all aware of the case that Malaysia came to Nigeria some time ago, like 3 decades ago, to pick our palm kernel, a seed of our palm kernel. Today, they are major exporter of palm oil. But where they have picked it from, which is our nation, do we export palm kernel in such large quantity? The question is, we can go on and on to start asking ourselves the question. So you all agree with me that we are blessed and endowed beyond measure. So what we're looking at is the characteristics. What are those things that we can say the institution is okay, is standard, is giving back to members, and the system is working for them? The first thing is independence. Before you can say a nation is okay, as the set standards, they must be independent in all ramifications. Talk of human resources, talk of material resources, talk of their physical structure, infrastructures, talk of basic amenities. They must be independent, if not in totality, but at least 90-80%. They must be independent. That if any nation wants to cut you off, that they are not supplying you anything, you can still leave. In our thinking too, human resources, we know we are blessed beyond measure. So transparency is our system. When I mean our system or when I refer to our institution, I'm not only referring to Nigeria, I'm referring to our state government too. I'm referring to our local government too. And I'm referring to our various institutions where we all belong to. Let us reason and see how it is applicable to us. We should not be looking at the government alone. We'll get to that level that we understand what I'm talking about. So after the issue of leadership and governance as an institute, are we independent in terms of our structure, in terms of our programs? Yes, to a large extent I can. If I rate us with the activities of our regional directors and the high authority we have in place, we are 90% independent in terms of what we do. We are self-sustaining, although we have our sponsors here and there, but majority of our things, the regional director can attest to that. Transparency. Nigeria as a country, are we transparent? No, we are not. Recently, there is that hot debate on the social media about the budgets of the federal government, that of the state government. The federal government is telling us that they are using billions of naira to build mosques and churches for us, and those things are padded under what? Under one ministry. We know Nigeria is a secular state. Whatever you're doing for us, if it is going to be to the benefit or better our lots, there is need for transparency at all levels. Our institutes do organize AGM, we have conventions, we have conferences where they will tell us what they have achieved over the years. That is what we call transparency. Our state governments, do we have access to their reports, annual reports of how they have expended our money? It all belongs to us. Nigeria as a nation, it's our birthright. Are they really transparent with us? As a father in your own house, are you transparent to your family too? Our leaders are religious leaders. Are they transparent? One of the beauties of transparency is when you are transparent, people will be willing to do more. They will be more committed to that structure. I don't want to start making reference to develop communities so that we will not be using them as standards. Naturally, they are standards. But the reality is this, that transparency is one of the effective way or characteristics of a good system. Resilience too is part of it. Accountability. So the next one is meritocracy. Do we consider merit in anything we do in the nation, our dear state? If we don't consider meritocracy, that this person is the best person, putting the round peg in the round hole, putting the square peg in the square hole. Are we really doing that? Are we not doing, tribalism? I don't start mentioning those things, but we know how we run our system at the federal level or the state level. Are we not doing man oh man? Are we not, doing favorism when we have the interest of the nation at heart? Those things will not come to place. The next one is accountability. Do we account for everything we do? Fine, we have presented the budget at the beginning of the year. We have, additional budget presented, approved by the House. I did not budget. Can you get the contract in Nigeria on the basis of merit without knowing anybody? Can you, are they accounting for those things in the system? Oh, we have budgeted 3.5 trillion naira for this administrative year. Are they giving account of how they have expended the money? Your guess is as right as mine too. And our various institutions where we work, our mosques, our churches, our environment, even to the level of CDA, because Institute of Leadership and Governance is not only relating with the government, we are relating with all institutions as defined in this presentation. Even as CDA members, CDC, are we really transparent? Are we accountable? Then the last one I want to mention because of time is adaptability. Any resilience, transparency, or if you want to strengthen any institution, there must be adaptability. You must be able to adjust to any situation you find yourself. They say laws are made for man, men are not made for law. You consider question of things. As situation arises, you adjust. Are we leaving that in the system? Are we not adhering strictly to things that will not favor our members? We need to review our laws, our ordinances, our rules and regulations, our condition of service from time to time to adapt to the situation we find ourselves, the need of the people. We are here to serve ourselves, to serve the community. To what extent are we really doing that? To what extent are we really doing that? So those are the things we need to consider. So the next one is significance of strengthening institutions for national development. Significance of strengthening institutions for natural development. The first thing I look at is consistency. For any institution, to strengthen any institution or to make any institution viable, or for any institution to give back to the system or to serve the purpose for which we have putting up that institution, we need to do some basic things. We must be consistent. There must be continuity in government. And that's one of the major problems we have in our states. There is no continuity in our governance. You see a governor today will tell you, because he's from a particular party, I don't want to start mentioning party, you abandon projects that has been allocated, that the money has been released, and you want to start another one. Why? For reasons best known to him or her. But we all know the reasons too. So there must be consistency in anything we do. Meaning that there must be continuity. When you keep, there is a particular adage, or is it maxims, that says that practice make perfect. When you're consistent with what you're doing, you will get it right. Like they say, Rome was not built in a day. The same thing all these developed world, we talk about United States of America, we talk about United Kingdom. We know they are not just one nation, they are, collaborative efforts of nations. That's why we call them United States of America. So it's because they are consistent. That's why they have been able to get to where they are today. And the same thing we need in our own institution, at our state level, at the federal level, state level, regional level, local level, local government, all the FCDAs. And the same thing is applicable to our family, our churches, our mosques. The same thing is applicable to them. If we are not consistent, we won't move anywhere. And if we are not abiding by the rule of law, which is the next thing, we must follow our rules and regulations. If there is any need for us to adjust or to amend or to make another provision to that rule of law, we must come to the round table together. Not that some individuals will just, tell us that the law, you can bend the law. And our law institution too must take cognizance of the fact that for every law, there's always an exception, there's a caveat to every law. But we should not use it at the disadvantage of the less privileged. There must be equity and equality in anything we do. That's what we call rule of law. Effective service delivery. We must give value for everything the citizens are investing or have sacrificed. Whoever that is in charge of any resources of any state, community, city, or nation should understand the fact that people are sacrificing. It's a communal thing. It's a national, they call it national cake. At times it might even be international cake, but people must get value for their sacrifice. That's what they say, alternative for gun. You are sacrificing something to get something. So you must, as a leader that we are trying to build in our institute, we must give value for everything you do. Effective service delivery. The next thing is economic growth and development. If there is consistency in the government, there is rule of law guiding our activities, our daily activities, and equally, if we are giving service or value for what our people are doing, it must translate to economic growth. Our economy must develop. We must see that we are building our economy, because automatically it will result to that. We must see developments, basic infrastructures, amenities, and things like that must show in the community. Those are the things we need to do. Those are the things that would show that we can use to measure what we are doing and our growth and our development. The next thing is social stability. Socially, we must be stable. We must be stable. There must be that social stability in our nation, in our state, local government, or wherever we find ourselves as leaders. So the next thing is political development. I don't want to start making reference to those things because we all live in Nigeria. We all know what happens. Even for those that are not in Nigeria, we all know what is happening in our states. Are we really stable socially? Are we really stable politically? We know what happens when it is electionary period. There will be a lot of promises. Are we not doing the same thing at our micro community, at our state level, at our local government level? Are we really adhering strictly to those things that will bring value? Do we even have integrity? Are we not killing the system with our own dispositions and actions? Those are the things we need to start asking ourselves. When we have answers to those things, those are the things that will take us to the next level that we so desire. Yes, factors that weakens political interference because of politics, because of political interests of our leaders. Well, should I say the leaders, even of our followers? Because without followers, there can never be a leader. That political interference because we want my party, I want my people, I want my tribal man, I want, you know, my childhood friend, I want somebody from my community to be the next person that will govern us. That brings about political interference. We maneuver, we manipulate. Whether it is acceptable or not, those are the things we do. So for that singular reason, there must not political interference if we want to improve our structure, if we want to improve our system, because it weakens our institutions. It is only institution that can sustain our culture. It is only institution that can sustain our heritage. It is only institution that can sustain whatever we call ourselves as a people, as Nigerians, as leaders across board. The next thing is corruption and patronage. If you look at our environment today, your guess is as right as mine too. People are corrupt. Even in our various offices, you would expect something in exchange for something. You have been employed or you have been appointed, you have been elected for a particular purpose. Are you really delivering for the purpose with which you have been appointed or elected? People are not, because nobody is calling them to order. And the reason why we cannot call them to order because they buy us. They bought us during the electionary process. And some institutions too will expect people to give us something before we can, you know, give back to the system. So, for that singular reason, my dear brother, and so fellow institute members and participants, we need to ensure that we eradicate corruption. It is not the government that will eradicate corruption, it is we, as citizens of this great nation, as members of the institute, as electorate. Only one, there's a path. If you have been offered something, they want to buy you, either by giving you 1 liter of rice, or they want to give you 1 bag of rice, or they want to give you, no matter how huge what they are promising you at that moment to sell your vote. If you reject it, you cannot be coerced into it. So that is why it is very, very important that the changes that we desire begins with us, not with our leaders alone, but it will start from the electorate, because what goes around comes around. Now the next thing is inadequate funding. Okay, weak enforcement, because our law enforcing agency. There's one book written by an American scholar. I want to make reference to it. It was quoted from Dr. Robert Abati on a live program. I think that was two. The government are meant to enforce law. But what do you do when those are supposed to uphold law are the one breaking the law? So that is why it is very, very important that we must ensure enforcement of law at any point in time. Then the next one is inadequate funding. Because we want to paralyze the system, we want to suffocate the electorate, the citizens. You will not make provisions of basic amenities, basic infrastructures. Talk of our power holding system, our electricity. Talk about, our refineries for years. I was born into the understanding that they are working on our refineries, that they will soon work when they have spent billions of naira on our refineries, and it has not improved. But we hope we'll get there one day. So we know what is happening. There's inadequate funding. When once they want to construct road, want to build road, you want to build, facilities, medical, basic medical amenities. People, those in charge will not release money. They are underfunded. When you have budgeted 20 billion for a particular project, and they are telling that before you get the 20 billion, you must do what? Give them as a way of, bribing them. You must give them 10 billion naira out of the 20 million budgeted for the project. And the contractor will be left with 10 million. And it's well known that that 10 million cannot finish the project. It will now become an abandoned project. In our system today, you all agree with me. That is why on a daily basis, people are traveling out of this country. Just yesterday, one of my colleagues in the office, I was told is, the jackpot syndrome. The person I'm talking about is over 50 years old. And I asked myself, what was he going to do abroad? We all know the answer. He's looking for a greener pasture at that age. So it is because our environment, our government, our leaders are not making it conducive for us. That's why we're having brain drain. It's not my news. We're having insecurities everywhere. We are living with it today. Talk of kidnapping, rustlers, and the likes. So it leads to loss of trust. We are not. A lot of people does not have trust in the system again. Lessons for Nigerian leaders from successful institutional models around the world. I won't bore us with more because I know my time are fast spent. Take a case of Rwanda. As we speak today, we all know the story of Rwanda. It's a zero tolerance for nonsense, for corruption, and people will obey the rules of law in Uganda. Take a case of Singapore, meritocratic civil system. You won't get anything if you does not deserve it. The next one is take a case of South Korea, independent anti-corruption body. You will have to resign once you are found wanting. If you did not resign, you'll be sanctioned, even if you are the minister, regardless of your position. The next one is Palestine, resilience against oppression. That's another religious issue. But what we are learning, what we are taking from it, they are very, very resilient against all oppression, regardless of the forces behind it. They are resilient. Meaning that the summary of this page, the formula is this: political will plus legal protection will bring results. We electorate must have that political will that we are ready to take the bull by the horn. So that's the only thing that will take us to where we want to. We all agree with me that if we have the political will, we'll get there. Then the next one, practical strategies that will strengthen the institution. Those are the things we want to look at now. The first one is functional education at all levels. The only way we can take ourselves, we can strengthen our institution. They said, for Africans, if you want Africans not to develop, hide that particular thing in a book. Because we don't like reading. We don't have, the habits. We have lost that habit of reading that our forerunners, our forefathers used in developing our nation. We don't have it again. So there must be functional education at all levels, across board, regardless of your social, tribal, and background. The next thing is battle against elite capture. One of the problems we have in our system is our elite, so to speak, have captured the structure, and they do not want to release it to us. They want it to keep. If you ask ourselves, you look at it now. For the past, since times of independence, who are the set of people ruling this nation? It has been the same set of people. They are just, circulating it within themselves. The same way they're circulating it, they are just, branding themselves, rebranding themselves. Look at the political parties, the same thing. So the next one is depersonalization of public office. Public office is not personal at all. Whatever you do, know that you're doing it for the institution. It is called to service. You are serving the system, not some set of individuals. During the time of Buhari, what we hear is some set of cabals. In times of Jagaban, Pibat, you know what we say. Anywhere you find yourself, you must depersonalize the structure. You must be able to identify what the structure is, what an individual is. The next one is effective management of resources. We have read a lot of things about resources. Like our Yoruba people would say, we understand English than even the British. But are we really putting those things into practice? Are they coming to bear in our daily activities? There must be adequate and timely monitoring for everything we do. Adequate and timely monitoring in anything we do. You understand that is self-explanatory. Leadership intelligence. We need it. LI, we need it. It's beyond artificial intelligence alone. There must be leadership intelligence in anything we do. As a leader, you must be able to read, see beyond the four walls of the system. You must be able to identify what are the challenges of your people. You must be leaders don't sleep. They said readers are leaders. That's why most of our politicians, as a leader, you must be intelligent. Apart whatever you might have acquired in terms of knowledge, attending conferences and things like that, you must be intelligent. That emotional intelligence must lead you to leading the people well. The next one is effective communication. Effective communication. Whatever you might have as agenda, whatever you might have observed as a leader, whatever your vision, mission, intent, you must carry out people. They must be informed because if you are not getting feedback, that means you are not communicating. If you are not getting feedback, it means you are not communicating. So you must communicate, get feedback, then fight against corruption. You must stand your ground. Professor Lubumba will always tell us in any of his presentation, he has visited the country several times to present paper, even at the national level. I think the last one he came, if I'm very correct, was the launching of a book for one of our past presidents. So we must fight against corruption. That's one of the problems we're having. Final point. I don't need to bore with too much knowledge, too much, rhetorics. We have most of the things we are trying to talk about, strengthen our institution. There are things that we know. There are things that we know. So we must, as much as possible, we must take these as our take home. The first thing is strengthening institution for national development requires a shift from personality-driven governance to the rule of law. Regardless of who is concerned, regardless of whether it is my party or not my party, my tribal man or not my tribal man, what is important is our institution. We must shift from personality. The interest of institution should be the first thing that will be at the back of our mind. And that is what we must protect. The developed world, when you talk of China today, talk of Japan, talk of Korea, United States of America, or even you're talking of United Kingdom, they protect their institution. They are not after personality. They'll say, in America, they say that state first. And you must obey. So, as Nigerians, we must do that too. Then second thing is, embedded in transparency, we cannot get it right. We will not reach the desired destination if we are not transparent. And there must be civic engagement. We must interact with our people. As a leader, you must come down from that altar or that's your high position, interact with the community. Because of that, I would have loved to share experience of some of our past governors, what they have said about interacting with the people, testing like a litmus test of their policies within the people, testing at the beer parlor, testing at guest houses, and they get the feedback, and with that they were able to achieve with their aims and objectives. Then the next thing is structural reforms. After civic engagement, whatever we might have gotten from our interaction with the populace, the electorates, our members, the next thing is to implement it. There must be structural reforms. And there are processes for that, which we might not be able to address. This paper might not be able to address. Then the next one is we must ensure that there is a sustainable growth. All what we have mentioned, we must ensure there is a sustainable growth, efficient public service delivery, and lasting socioeconomic resilience for the country. If you truly love Nigeria as a country, we must be involved, ask our leaders from time to time. They must be able to sustain the growth. By the time a particular administration is handing over to another one, they must build on what they have done. There must be effective public service delivery. We must see value for what we're sacrificing for the natural resources of this country. And the last one, there must be a lasting socio-economic resilience for the country. Yes. At this juncture, I have to thank my participants that what we have all listened to is all about strengthening the Nigerian institution. We all know where we want to be. We know where we are at the moment, and we all know, how to make the changes. We must be transparent as electorates. in choosing the right set of people, meritocracies, and everything I've mentioned in this presentation. I want to thank once again my regional director, Dr. Shegun Ojaro Tade, and the leadership of the institute for giving me this opportunity to present these humble submissions of mine on this national and topical issue of strengthening our institution, the Nigerian imperative. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Afinah, for this well-researched topic on institutional growth. Thank you for your time, and thank you for diving into so many key areas expected of this topic. I sincerely appreciate the depth and the clarity that with which you have addressed today's theme. There are three particular areas that stood out for me in your presentation. Before we allow people to contribute, ask questions on this discussion, I must emphasize these three areas quickly. Number one, you emphasize that institutions must be stronger than personalities. And that's one big problem we have been facing. You see, when institution is stronger than personality, we will get it right. This is perhaps one of the greatest lessons we as Nigerians or Nigeria need today to learn to sustain national development. You know, we cannot depend on who occupy an office, but on the strength of the system that govern that office. That is key. You know, we cannot depend on who occupy the office, but on the strength of the institution, of the system that govern that office. When institutions are stronger than individual, leadership transitions become smoother, policy become consistent, citizens develop trust in governance. Second thing that also resonates with me from what you have said is that I was impressed by your discussions on the characteristics of effective institutions. You talked about independency, transparency, meritocracy, accountability, adaptability. You know, these are not just mere governance principles. They are the foundation upon which successful nations are built. You know, if these values are embedded in our public institutions, private organizations, even our communities, I can assure you, Nigeria will experience a sustainable development. The third things I also highlight on some of your discussion is from examples from various countries. And you also gave a formula that political will plus legal protection equal to result. You remind us that national transformation is possible regardless of our history or challenges. You know, the difference is often the leadership commitment, political will, and courage to build institutions that enforce accountability rather than protecting privilege. You gave series of strategies, functional educational at all levels, very important. Build battle against elites. Of course, I may ask question on that later. When you say we should battle against the elite, how do we do that? How do we capture the elite? How do you mean? You know, he talks about the personalization of public offices, effective management of resources, adequate and timely monitoring, leadership intelligence, effective communication, fight against corruptions. These are good strategy to build strong institutions. Rule of law is very germane if we can stand by it. I must also thank you for this topic. I believe CILG as an institution we do not just become strong by legislation alone. We become strong even when the people inside possess the character, the competency, and the courage. And that's where we come in. as CILG, as an institution. We believe that every institution is not only as effective as their leader, but even as effective as the rule of law that entangled them. And that is why we continue to invest in leadership development, governance, ethical programs. And that's why we are coming up with a program to train over 7,000 youths across 774 local governments. Yes, we are looking at least 1,000 youths at each local government. If we can raise thousands of ethical leaders at grassroots, we'll gradually rebuild our institution from the bottom up instead of waiting for changes from the top. You know, the future of Nigeria depends not only on institutional reform, but also on producing citizens, institutions that are willing to serve institutions with integrity. And I must thank you for your in-depth knowledge on this topic. But before I call the PRO to take the questions, I would like to ask you one question before Mr. Innocent will take over. In Nigeria, we have good laws and policy, yet implementation remain weak. In your opinion, Dr. Afinah, what single institutional reform will produce the greatest impact within the next 5 years? I repeat, in Nigeria, we often have good laws, good policies, yet implementation remain weak. In your opinion, what single institutional reform will produce the greatest impact within the next 5 years if genuinely implemented? Over to you, Mr. Innocent, why Mr. Afinah can answer the question. Thank you, Mr. Afinah.
Okay, thank you so much, my general. I appreciate the opportunity once again for giving the platform to present this topical issue. As Nigerians, like you have rightly said, we have rules and laws and we have leaders. What I would recommend, in my own opinion, is that we should go back to that regional system of government, which this particular government is actually working towards. So that is the only way we can call our leaders, we can make them accountable for everything they do, and that's the way we can pick the right set of people. In summary, in a nutshell, my submission is we should go back to regional system of governments that would ensure that we have, the grassroots feel the impact, and equally our institution is in that direction, that want to, have volunteers across the 5 LCD, all the LCDAs and the local government authority, regional governance to the grassroots. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Sadiq, for this wonderful presentation. We have learned a whole lot. I believe all participants have learned something new today. At this point, we want to ask some questions, and want to open the floor for everyone to ask their questions. So please, if you have any question to ask, kindly raise your hand, click the raise hand icon so that we can call you so you can ask a question. Or you can also drop your question or contribution in the chat box. Okay, we have one hand. We have, yes, a fellow member of the Institute, Honorable Lubume Adeluba. Kindly unmute and ask your questions or make your contributions. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you very much, Dr. Segun, and everyone that have joined to do this great job. It's actually very timely this time in our nation to look at a topic like this. But I like the speaker have actually mentioned, but did not dive deeply into it. And maybe he has done that before I joined, because I joined a couple of minutes before. I wanted us to just also look at citizens' responsibility. All this that we are saying concerning the nation, most of the time we always look at the side of the leaders. And somebody said, okay, it's a book that I joined to review, that everything, I've forgotten exactly the topic, that responsibility starts, kind of responsibility starts with me. It actually starts even from the home. Citizen responsibility in strengthening institution is not, I mean, strengthening institution is not solely the, talking about leader. Institutions are built, I mean, by committed citizens. Strong institution uphold rules of law, promote accountability and protect rights. That's what I've got. We have had. But when you look at it, when institution is being, when country or institution is being strengthened, it's not something that is also very palatable. It comes with pain, especially the level at which the Nigeria is now. There are so many things that need to be strengthened, but in the process there will be some pain. And what citizens we also need to do is to make sure that they also obey the rules of law. If government want to do a particular thing, and even when government has done some things, if you see what people do, even to scatter what government has done, you will wonder. Look at all those manhole that people will just go there and remove. The responsibility, citizen responsibility are there. And it also, in this era, I'm a tax person, this era of tax payments, people are not just willing to do their responsibility. Fine, let us, when you do your responsibility, citizens, they can also hold duty bearer to accountability. It is when we have done our own. It is when we need to strengthen even from our own. I am not trying to give another, lecture. There are a lot of things that citizens have to do before they can begin to say, okay, is my government doing this? It's even within institution, even within professional body, there are some demand. You want to pay your dues, you don't pay your dues. It starts with you. So I want to appreciate our speaker. He actually did a lot of job, but this has to, for me, adding the citizen participation it will make it very holistic. So strong institutions are not just built by government alone. They are sustained by responsible citizens. Every act of honesty, civil participation, tax compliance, respect to rules of law and community, and start spoiling what government has even done. Community service also contribute to national development. So all of us, everything starts with us. Thank you so much for taking so much time. I'm actually, not going to do another job.
All right, thank you so much for that new dimension. The citizens have a role to play, not just the leaders. Very good contribution from you. Let's move on.
Thank you for the wonderful presentation. This is no doubt an eye-opening session. I really appreciate Dr. Jitorade for organizing this, and for the presenter, Dr. Afinah, you have done well, sir. However, during your presentation, you talk about institutions, making institutions work.
Please, is it possible we get a louder?
Okay, I would like to know how we can make institutions work when it is we, the individuals, that come together to form the institution. For instance, you made mention during the presentation that until you can get something without knowing anybody. Recently, I met with a lady. She's a Nigerian in China. So she was, I think she's in their military. It was not like what Nigeria couldn't give her, these people gave her. So that was even what prompted me. She now narrated her experience that she tried to join the Nigerian Navy. So she applied that. Instead of people asking her, what can you do? What do you like? What skill do you have? Or what certificate, what knowledge do you have? That they were asking, who do you know? And this is simply everywhere. You apply for a Navy, who do you know? So in virtually every offices, we don't look at what will improve productivity. However, how favoritism, nepotism, this is what is reigning in the country. How can we do without it? Before I round up, for instance, now I'm trying to climb up the ladder in my own space. By the time I get there, my village people will start looking up to me that we now have our son there. okay, they will start sending me CV, whether they qualify, they don't qualify. I refuse to employ them. I become the enemy in my village. People don't want to, he's a useless man, this and that. We are all doing this thing, has become like what is in vogue. So how do we decolonize people's mind from this? Because even if you said, okay, I want fairness to play out, other people are doing it. Now you feel like I'm losing out. So let me bring my people on board too. So this thing continue. And we are all seeing it day by day. And that's why even the best brain, we've now started experiencing brain drain. The same thing I read on social media, how medical personnel are leaving the country due to this or that. So how do you think we can tackle this? Thank you.
So thank you, Mr. Innocent, and respected members on this platform. Like I've rightly said, those questions, those problems you have identified, at times you might be willing to right the wrong, and others are not willing to go along with you. There's that adage that if you cannot beat them, you join them. But if you want to restructure, you want to strengthen our institution, you want to revamp or bring about the desired change, you don't join them. You must stand out in anything you do. I'm very sure by the time you stand out, people will take lessons from you and they would, right the wrongs and equally follow your own path too. Because by the time you join them, you can't make the desired change. That's why our former president said the change begins with us as individuals, as key functional stakeholders in the development of our system. We must do the right thing at the right time. Whenever the question we should be asking ourselves as individuals what is the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? You should not take the case of others as yardstick that, in my office, people will leave, people will not come until 10 p.m. People will not leave until people leave as early as 3 o'clock, whereas they are supposed to resume 8, close by 4. I have a particular slogan that people will not turn me to bad people. Despite the fact that I know the program will start by 8, I will not get there late. I know the program is slated for 8, and it will not start until 9 or 10. Despite that fact, and based on experience, I'll still get there before that 8. It happened last week. The same thing happened today. Although I know in our institute to start to time that was set, despite all challenges and all odds, I was still, join at the appropriate time. So stand out. Once you stand out, you might even be the only man standing, but others will follow. That's what we call situational leader. You lead by example, by doing the right at the right time, regardless of those that are there. We are all human beings. That emotional intelligence will tell us at every point in time that, this person is doing the right thing. Their subconsciousness will call their attention to it that, okay, well, don't mind him. He's a pastor. He's an Afa. He's trying to claim saints. Don't worry. Very soon will join us. But if you refuse to join them, when any one of them is in need of somebody who is trustworthy, accountable, somebody with integrity, they will make recourse to you. They will come back to you. They will come back to you. So let's keep doing the good work. And that's the reason why we have challenges of leadership and governance. Our main thing is we want to change the system. We want to ensure that we have the right set of leaders, that ethical integrity. We want to revamp it. And they're already doing that because I'm a proud member too. And I appreciate the work the institution is doing.
Thank you, Mr. Sadiq. Please, before the next question and PRO, let me add to that answer asked by Mr. Yusuf. You see, building a system that cannot easily be manipulated will require a strong institution that rely on a clear laws and procedure. It is possible. Number one, as you ask, what can we do? We need a clear law that require check and balance. Our law need to be retweaked. We need to create an institution that cannot be manipulated by individual. For example, our recruitment process should follow transparent, competitive processes. Promotion should be based on measurable performance, not based on popularity, based on results. Procedural position should be open. You understand? It should not be done behind the door. The rules should be clear and consistent. Enforcement must be total. Number 2, merit must replace connection. You see, one of our biggest challenge in Africa is opportunities are often influenced by family ties, by ethnicity, by political loyalties, by religious affiliation. You get a point? So we must replace these connections by merit. Successful country reward competency, not based on family ties, not based on ethnicity. So the right person for the right job, not based on connection. Number 3, institution must be independent. Regulatory body, the judiciary, the anti-corruption agency, the electoral body, the civil society organizations, they must be protected from political interference. Institution seems not to be strong because these people are being interfered. These institutions, this regulatory body, judiciary, anti-corruption agency, electoral bodies, they are being interfered into. Their affairs are being controlled somewhere. Number 4, we must, you see, citizen, like Honorable Bumi said, citizen too must be ready to hold our leaders accountable. Leadership is not only politicians. You know, nobody should be above the law. That's another thing that is very important in keeping a strong institution. Leadership must be accountable. Whether you're a president, you're a governor, you're a senator, whether you're a GO or whatever, you know, power tends to corrupt. That's just the truth. Absolutely. So we need to learn to hold them accountable. Number 5, we need to invest in ethical leadership. And that's where we come in. You know, institutions are only good as there are people who run them. You know, so this is where organizations like CILG come in, and that is where we promote ethical leadership, we enhance people's capability, and finally, citizens must also defend institutions. Very important. That's why I do appreciate all the CSO that normally advocate every time. They keep standing for us. They keep speaking for us. Citizens must defend institutions. Strong institutions are not created by government alone. We need to understand that. Citizens must reject vote buying. Citizens must report corruptions. Citizens must demand transparency. Citizens must respect due process. Like our mommy said, citizens must hold leaders accountable. When society reward integrity rather than influencing institutions, we become stronger. Very important. Nigeria does not necessarily lack good law. We often lack consistency. We lack enforcement. That's the problem. We lack enforcement. We do not always lack capable people. Okay? We often lack, you know, we fail to reward competency. That's the problem. Not that we don't have the competency people, but we fail to reward the competent people. So these are the area, these are some of the points we need to look at in order to build a strong institution. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Innocent.
Thank you, the DG, the directors. God bless you. Thank you for, and the speaker is quite a interesting topic. I will come to a question, probably similar to what the last speaker have just raised. We are able to see that the problem, particularly in Nigeria and most African countries, is weak institutions. We can really see that. And we can also come to term that what we need is institutional reform to address the question of weak institutions. I remember somebody said that if you can send the worst person to be the president of America, he will do well. But if you also send the best politician, the best leader to come and be the president in Nigeria, he will still perform woefully. This actually boiled down on institutional issues that we have been talking about. So, but where I am going is this. You see, what at this level, we appreciate God for this forum. I think I've been here sometimes also to participate in a discussion like this, and I think I must have raised similar question which I'm still going to raise, aligned with what the last person who raised the question have said. What on this platform, the CILG, what effort are we making with all these lessons, with all these opening eyes, with all this insight into this diagnosis of the national issues, national problems? In what way are we probably going forward to probably have institutional engagement towards actualizing or probably towards affecting, culturing the culture? That is actually my question. Remember, sometimes ago in our time, let me see one thing about institutions problem here. I want to draw attention to something very recently, or not too recent anyway. During this time, we have this Justice Walter Onoge as the Chief Justice of Nigeria. You can remember that organ, CCT, that is the Code of Conduct Bureau, that have not been active, that have been completely weak, that I have not been, I have not been featuring in anything. Just suddenly wake up because some individual, some powerful individual, they just now go and fuel that particular CCT to be able to raise allegation against Onoge. And by the time you look at in the Queen of High, the man was removed for a particular purpose that his removal was to achieve. So these are some of the institutional issues we have. Institutional rise up or wake up when they are needed to achieve ulterior motives. So these are some of the things. So what the problem like this is what we can really see. But I want to thank God. I want us to look at certain this present government in Nigeria. I don't want to say anything that's actually really true, but that could be they have their weaknesses. But you can see that when it comes to fitting certain strategic institutions in Nigeria, they always try to look for the round by peg to put the round hole. Like this central bank governor's appointment, like the EFCC appointment, like some other appointments, some other appointments also. We can see that effort, but we know they may have weaknesses. But I think I appreciate that. But at our level, CILG, what effort can we take in such a way that these lessons we are learning is beneficial to those of us that are participating in something like this? But how can we go further in engage institutions in such a way that we can bring down most of these lessons to the appropriate channels in such a way that we can have a national relief through our effort on this monthly program? Thank you very much. God bless you.
Okay, thank you for that contribution. And for the question, I would like Dr. Shegun to respond to it before we...
Thank you, Pastor, for that question. And I really appreciate your participation. You see, that's why we always appreciate our member contributing or attending some of this our program. One, it is very important that we recognize that institutions are not built by people. CILG recognize that institutions are built by people. We recognize that. If we want a stronger institution, we must develop stronger leaders. And that is where we stand. And that is why our primary mission is leadership development, governance education, ethical capacity building. Number two, as CILG, we may not make law or run government ministries, but we influence people who do. Fear our contributions to develop leaders with integrity, competency, advocation, and that is part of what we see us doing this morning. We train public and private sectors leaders because this is an institutions that focus on training on leadership and governance. We promote ethical leadership and professional standard. We recognize and we celebrate, we encourage individuals who has done one thing or the other, and that's why we normally meet per time where we do inductions, all this and that. We're only doing that in order to also celebrate and recognize leaders that have done one little thing or the other. We encourage networking and mentorship. These are some of the things we are doing. And part of it is what you're also witnessing this morning. Most of the program you see us doing, some people may not speak, but many people that occupy these offices we mentioned, they are present on our platform. All this program, we share it on our YouTube, we share it online. They attend, they listen, they participate. In fact, some of them share insight during and after the program. It's transforming. It's working. It may not be immediate, but it's changing cultures, and we keep doing it. And of course, as our members, we listen to people. The project we are running we are working on at the moment on Project 774 local government is still part of what we are doing. to build young people across various local government to achieve some of our goal and aim in building ethical leaders. Our vision is simple: to raise and build institutions, not just personality, because when leaders leave offices, institutions should continue to serve the people with excellence and framework. It's a continuous work, and that is part of what we are doing. Thank you. Now, on this same institutional framework, we still continue in our 13th membership induction coming up in November, 27th Friday. We'll be looking at institutions that work, what make it work. You know, rule of law is very important. I still maintain that fact. Institution must be bigger than individual is very important. When institution is bigger than you and I, you can't influence it. People need to keep with it. Institutional work in so many countries. Nobody need to force you to do one thing or the other. You naturally do it. It works. So we are looking at discussion on this in our next 13 induction, and it's going to happen on 27th of November. Then we have community projects coming up in 2027, and we've started advocating for our members to volunteer for this program. We are looking at 1,000 youths at least from each local government. We only need you to mobilize this youth in your local government. We have the resources to provide, and of course, the detail of this program will come to all interested volunteer next month, August. Please, we need your, many of us, we are leaders in our various institutions. If the senior ones can, let's build the young ones. Nigeria will be great. That's the prayer. Nigeria will be great. It's very possible. So if you're interested in volunteer to lead 1,000 youths in your local government, for the 1,000 may take you 3 or 4 program, no problem. We'll give you the details next month, but just send your interest to us so that we can give you details by next month. These are 7 pillars of our professional program: education and qualification, professional standard, global community, and the global community is what you see on these 774 local government we are doing at the moment. We do training in different levels. We have our professional membership that we do, and that surround our 7 pillars: research and policy, partnership and networking. We are open to it because we can't do it alone. These are the 7 pillars of our professional framework. If you are just joining us, we want you to join our membership, contribute to what we are doing. We can't do it alone. And it is our CILG body of knowledge. Of course, it covers about 5 parts: foundation of leadership, leadership knowledge area, leadership process framework, professional development, leadership tools and framework, various case studies across Africa and developing nations and developed world. This book is over 800 pages, where we have 50 chapters there, and it has about 125 competency indicators. We've been working on this book for the past 4 years, and the book is about to be out. So we use it as our architectural material that we use. So please email us at info@cilgnigeria.org if you want to volunteer to lead projects, CILG project for 1,000 youth in your local government. Make sure you choose a local government where you are. Don't choose a local government where you cannot mobilize the young people. Yes, the game is to train 774,000 youth in 2027. That's the project. And we need to take this from local government to local government. We'll keep updating you on the progress. But now, volunteer close this month. Just email the local government you want to represent, your reason for volunteer to coordinate this project. Email to info@cilgnigeria.org. Just 2-3 line message. We are okay. We'll get back to you in the month of August for details. If you are new on the platform and you want to join us, please email your updated CV to info@cilgnigeria.org. As seen on the screen, and the banner has been drawn by our staff in the chat box. So please send us your updated CV You'll get to know more about our program, and you can also visit our website. We have different membership, ranges from student member, associate member, full member, fellow member, honorary, corporate, etc. These are different membership category. Details are on our website. Thank you, our special guest speaker, for your time today, for your input, and for what you've done. CILG is a professional body registered in America, currently New Mexico, Alaska, and Michigan. We have various programs that we benefit you. Apart from global recognition, CPD access, professional networking, credential verification across different parts of the world, an official certification will be issued as a member, and you can use this anywhere in the world. These are various things we do. Time will not permit us because we need to close. If you want to obtain participant certificate for this program, it's 10,000 naira. Yes. You can see the account number on the screen. A link has been dropped in the chat box. You can feed that link, or you make a request. You can send us a message. You can see various number on the screen. It's just 10,000, and you will have your CPD 1 point for attending this 1 hour program. And the certificate will also add value to you, and you will have access to other things necessary. Thank you for attending today's program. This is a place to be. We have live event coming up very soon beyond meeting online. If you have further questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we'll be here to answer you. Thank you for attending today's program. Thanks to our guest speaker for his time. If you have further questions, feel free to ask, or you message us. Thank you for today.